Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Jack joins Diane at society and tells her he ran into Billy at home and it got a little abrasive. He doesn't appreciate getting his 2 cents on Abbott Chancellor. Diane's not surprised, he's on a self-destructive streak. Jack confides that he found out there is trouble behind the scenes at Newman Enterprises, which can only be good for us. Diane learns that Victor's going after Abbott Chancellor, and Victoria went against her father by offering to buy him out. Diane isn't sure why Jack brought this up. Billy's the cause of his own problems, and if he goes up against Victor, he'll lose. They don't need to be dragged down with him. Jack's taken aback. In Victor's office, Audra pitches her new product. He asks why she presented it to him without a prototype. Audra says it's because of Kyle, who canceled her production order. He seems to be intent on sabotaging her, even at the expense of the company. Victor asks if she's aware that Kyle talked to him about her telling Nate he was the investor. Audra says Kyle's not interested in Glisade's success. He's only interested in what's best for him. Victor's phone rings and he says, "Send him in." Kyle walks in and Victor says Audra claims he tried to undermine her. "Would you care to defend yourself?" Kyle and Audra start bickering. Audra tells him Victor likes her new product, and if he'd had his way, it never would have seen the light of day. Kyle says she jumped the gun and accuses her of trying to cut him out. He adds that she revealed Victor's identity to Nate. "Why should we trust you?" Victor says enough. They both want to run the company, so why don't they prove they're competent? Kyle and Audra resume bickering, and Victor doesn't want to hear it. They need to prove themselves. Only one of them can be in charge. Audra guesses this is a test that most ruthless one will win. Kyle intones, "Challenge accepted." At Crimson Lights, Daniel thanks Summer and Phyllis for meeting him. Phyllis asks if they have more to celebrate. Daniel says it's not good news. "Have either of you heard from Heather since yesterday?" They say no. Daniel says she just left. She's gone. He explains she texted him to say she left town to clear her head. She mentions still being upset about the situation with Sharon. He texted back, but she won't respond. Phyllis complains about Sharon and decides she should try messaging Heather. Summer and Daniel talk her down. Summer thinks this will blow over. Daniel gets the feeling there might be more to it. He decides there might be another way they can find out what happened and pulls out his phone. Daniel makes a call and leaves Paul a message asking him to let them know if he hears from Heather. Summer and Phyllis are sure he'll hear back from him soon. Summer asks if they had a fight. Daniel says she wasn't thrilled about staying in Genoa City, but they had a good talk and were on the same page. He worries he drove her away again. She just up and disappeared out of the blue. Phyllis and Summer try to talk him down, but Daniel worries Heather has left him. Faith lets Nick into Sharon's house, and he asks about her mom. Faith thinks she's still asleep. Sharon emerges from the kitchen with a tray of food and sing-songs that today she has a lot to do. Faith notes that her mom seems very peppy. Sharon pops a pill and says she's dealing with her issues. No more running away. Sharon sends Faith to the kitchen and then tells Nick she has a therapy session this morning. He offers to drive her and then has something to tell her. Nick admits he called her doctor when she was away. He felt helpless and was looking for some guidance. Sharon asks if he gave that to him. Nick says he respected her confidentiality and apologizes. Sharon knows he did it out of concern. Faith reappears and asks if everything is okay. Sharon tells her Nick is going to take her to her session. Nick heads upstairs with Faith to fix a window, and Cameron appears. He compliments Sharon on being calm and cool. Sharon feels she could lose it any minute. Cameron assures her no one has a clue she killed Heather Stevens and dumped her body last night. Sharon didn't mean for this to happen. Cameron says Heather was really annoying. Sharon rants that the guilt is still there. She's blocked it out as much as she can, but suppression can backfire. Cameron reminds her she doesn't have a choice but to keep this act up for the rest of her life. Sharon says if the truth comes out, she will lose everything. Cameron says, "You're doing great, babe." He's sure it will be fine. Sharon intends on getting better. Heather's death was a wake-up call. Cameron warns her to be careful how honest she is with her therapist. One word about Heather and they'll lock her up. He still thinks she won't get closure on Cassie's death until Daniel's gone. Sharon says she won't do it. Suddenly, Faith and Nick reappear. Nick makes jokes about how good he is at everything. At Society, Diane doesn't think Jack needs to be focused on Billy right now. Jack snaps back that he can focus on more than one thing. Diane announces she wants to hire Kyle's replacement. Jack doesn't think that move will create peace. Diane fumes that the position needs to be filled, or there'll be a laughingstock. Jack says no one's laughing at Jebot under his watch. Diane corrects, under our watch. Jack marvels that it's like she cares more about the company than their son. Diane's offended. Jack's phone rings and he steps out to take the call. Audra appears and Diane asks her what it's going to take for her to get her claws out of her son. Kyle arrives at home and spots a laptop on the desk. He calls out to his parents and gets no response. Looking around, he sits down at the laptop and smirks. It's logged in. He snoops in the files for their new projects and grins. Bingo. At Crimson Lights on the patio, Summer and Phyllis continue trying to reassure Daniel, who can't understand why Heather would leave. Summer feels it's too soon to jump to crazy conclusions. Phyllis promises they'll get to the bottom of this. Inside the coffee house, Nick and Sharon arrive. He compliments her for putting in work, and she enthuses about being back on track. Hearing Daniel's voice, she turns to the patio. Cameron appears and warns her to keep it together. Do not lose it now. Daniel locks eyes with her, and Phyllis turns to see what he's looking at. Nick hands Sharon a drink and asks if she's okay. She says she's fine.